All right, hello everyone. Hello, welcome to English C1001. This is our part two of our English series here at Saddleback, and this is a condensed version, right? So that we have to squeeze this whole thing into 8 weeks. So I'm going to be jumping around a lot and trying to guide you to make efficient use of your time so that we can accomplish everything we have to do in the class. Like the class is, it's heavily writing intensive and so we have these major essays, and then I have little bits for you to read throughout the semester, some resources to take a look at, some ancillary assignments to do. Right, and the first of those is the Invisible Cities one that you should see now. And this thing is what we're doing is we're trying to, well, let me take a step back. The strategies or the mini modes, things like that we worked on last semester, right? Things like this, uh, causation, comparison, exemplification, classification, right? Definition, description, those two especially, they are the ones I believe they help you in the short to mid-term to increase your proficiency overall as a writer. And I'm talking about all types of writing, not just the critical writing that we do, the academic writing we do in these colleges, right? And there's some reasons for this. So if you're doing a piece of descriptive writing, say you're trying to describe something that the reader has not seen or experienced, you have to provide a lot of dynamic details so that it's not too surface level. Whenever we don't have enough detail and specificity, and we're kind of surface level writing, this creates a problem where our listeners or our readers, they, instead of imagining something new or considering another perspective of something, they default to their previous settings or their previous memories or their previous experiences, their previous lens through which to see the world. So if in terms of description, say imagine you're trying to describe a memory or even a dream, right? You have to provide enough dynamic details, and you have to engage their senses, because as human beings we see the world through our senses. Everything we what we are is what we've seen and what we hear and what we feel. So if you're describing something, you have to attend to those different senses, and you have to give enough specificity in there in each sense. So if I'm trying to describe a memory, well, I need to touch on what type of what were the sonic aspects of that memory in order to entice the reader to imagine and think of different types of birds or the wind or even the visual of light, filtering through leaves, or the touch, the gradient touch of some rough blades of grass, or the attending to little cracks in between where concrete has split on a driveway, and you have perhaps a line of ants or insects, with including some notion of temperature. Right. So I'm like bringing it all together. I'm engaging the senses, and when I start to accumulate those details, what I'm doing is I'm inviting and I'm enticing the reader to imagine something new. The key to creative thought, right, and creative and critical, right. So it's really wonderful to use creativity as a gateway into the critical, right, because we're trying to push conversations further or higher, right. So the avoiding the pitfalls of being stubborn or of being locked in or rigid. That's task number one, right? Same thing with definition. So the idea of connotation is important to us. Our individual relationship to language beyond just what has been written or said, agreed upon about a given unit of language, a word, a concept, or even a phrase. So this, yeah, I'm gonna have a whole document talking about this, and I'll mention this in a later video too. So anyway, let's start working on the essay. We have an Invisible Cities where you read the Italo Calvino's little excerpts there, like Tamara, those invisible cities, and I want you to create your own invisible city and use dynamic details and descriptive writing to create these vivid and new places. And so we're in the mode there of descriptive writing. That's our first ancillary. And we're going to talk more about definition, the importance of definition, Because oftentimes disagreement comes down to a the disagreement necessarily isn't of two people. It might just be of the two parties are defining or prioritizing aspects of the meaning of a particular term, a key term, a very important, vital word that serves as that disconnect between communication. So those two modes or strategies, very important early on, right? All right, now that essay, the first essay is very interesting, right? As we progress into the digital age, we have more and more this idea where we have like this split in our identity, where we have our online version of ourselves and we have the offline physical version of ourselves. And well, that necessitates some critical thought there. You know, what happens there? What does that do to us as people? So you want to think about that as you start to draft this essay. You know, how does your identity diverge? Which one do you lean more into? Which one do you care about more? How has any online components like social media shaped how you feel about where you are in either one of those branches of those identities, the offline identity versus the online identity? From which side do you derive your sense of self? Right, very interesting. Very interesting. From which side do we feel confident or any lack of confidence? Things like that. Important questions like that. We want to just let those simmer and start reading a little bit about it. Reach out, right? Start putting some search terms into our library databases or even some popular sources. But most of what you need is right up here. Just awareness of the elements, branches, and aspects of this issue, and then identify, this is where I care the most, and we're going to make that part larger. And so it's like an investigation, good introspection, right? And then hopefully some unique revelations. And we write a little essay in here that nobody's written before. So we arrive at uniqueness in ourselves, and so we're making a contribution to this greater conversation of identity. Yeah, so that's where we are. Anyway, okay, I'll try to make these as short as possible because I know you have a lot going on and we need to be efficient with our time here. So yes, I'll talk to you soon, everyone. Have a great Sunday. Always reach out, message me if you need anything. And yeah, I'll talk to you all tomorrow. I'm sure I'm going to make another announcement in the morning. All right, everyone.